Hello, everyone, and welcome to Prem Connection, being brought to you by the two aunties, Double the Advice. And of course, we're here back on Thursday night. Sorry we missed last week, but that's because I decided to have my second shot, and then you don't even want to know what happened to me. And of course, Kamal decided to have hers on Wednesday, and we'll talk about her shot rather than mine. But on that note, let's welcome everybody at the show today. We have Miss Sheena, our co host. Hi, Miss Sheena, who's our technical person.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
And then we have my partner in crime, Auntie Kamal, with her green screen.
Hi, how are you? I thought I'd keep it simple.
And keep it simple. Well, Kamal wants to keep it simple because she said if she tries messing around with the green screen, she's going to disappear for about 30 minutes. We don't want her to do that. No. And then, of course, we have our guest who was with us probably a couple of weeks, maybe 6-7 weeks ago. And we're bringing her back again. She's a matchmaker and she's a life coach. And she's here to share something very fun and interesting today. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me again. It was a pleasure.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. And sorry we had to reschedule from last week. That's another story.
Hey.
So for those who don't know, Prem Connection is here on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, and we are part of the matrimonial service called Prem Connection. And our show is here to talk about your story, creating your story. Everyone has a story, and us two aunties with our guests always have time to listen to your story because everyone has a different story. And premconnection.com is our website. All you need to do is visit our website and learn more about what we do. Currently, we are servicing the South Asian community, but we're open to basically anyone that's single and looking to settle down. And we use the word life partner. And Kamal will tell you why do we say life partner and not husband and wife and whatever.
Yeah, because these days, a lot of people don't have to get married, but they still need a life partner. So it's the modern way of life now. And it's a lot of fun. So meeting your life partner is and it can be, it can end up in marriage eventually, right?
Yes, of course. So Susan, tell us a little bit about what you do. I'm interested to know who Susan is, Susan Alper's connections. What do you do?
So I'm a matchmaker. I'm a lifestyle coach. So I'm not really a life coach. I'm more of a lifestyle. So I work with each individual person, okay? So for instance, if I get somebody who needs a makeover or they're living in a place that it's not going with their whole lifestyle. So I'll help them with the, moving to the right location. In relationships, it's everything. It's not just about, meeting somebody. I mean, a lifestyle, especially I work mostly for men. So you have to go by their lifestyle. That's what makes it work, right? You can't fix up a doctor with a girl, with a woman who's very needy, because his hours are not, they're all over the place. You know what I mean? So if she wants a certain lifestyle, that's not a good match. So you really have to match people by their lifestyle. Not because he plays tennis and she plays tennis, there's a match. You know what I mean? The whole lifestyle, traveling, or, if someone wants children and someone doesn't want children, you can't force people. But then again, I've had people who said I didn't want a child, and then they end up having a child, so, that's a part of the lifestyle.
So it's interesting that you brought up a doctor and not hooking him up with someone that's needy. That's interesting that you said that.
Well, I work a lot with doctors, actually Middle Eastern doctors, a lot of doctors, and they have a different lifestyle, especially now, they're calling me now and they're so excited to meet somebody, but then in 2 days from now, they're back in the hospital and they're working 24/7. So, that's a little tough right now. But doctors have a very different, and, it's really funny because, doctors always see patients when there's something wrong. And I always say to the guy, don't look for what's wrong with this girl. Okay?
That's right.
You know what I mean? But they're so used to that. You go to a doctor when you're not feeling well, right? Huh?
It's their mindset.
It's part of the education. Yeah, it's a part of their education. They're looking for what's wrong. So I always tell them, listen to me carefully. Don't go by what's wrong. Listen to your matchmaker.
Good point. That's what I think we end up, rather than doing matchmaking, we end up doing more of counseling.
Otherwise, you're not Otherwise, you're not doing matchmaking. If you're really not counseling your client, you're a coach. I mean, you have to, because don't they, they're coming to you, not because they have, there's something wrong with them. They have, maybe they're very busy. They're putting, it's like, they're putting everything into your hands. So you have to be able to coach them. And yes, you're going to have some time, especially with women against women, they attack me. I try to explain to them, I'm helping you. I'm not attacking you. You know what I mean? If you're doing something that's wrong, don't you want to know the truth? You don't want to waste any more time. And it's the same thing with the guys. I tell them, listen, when, they like sports, right? I said, look at the coach. Can you imagine the guy in the Super Bowls running down the wrong way with the football going to the wrong side? The coach is going to yell at him, and he's going to accept it. So you have to accept that you hire me or matchmaker, whoever, that we're not just a dating service. Dating services are just, okay, I have somebody go. But when you're a matchmaker, and you guys are from old school, like Jewish people, we come from the old school matchmakers. You know what I mean? So we really know that a matchmaker really has to, do certain things for their clients. You don't just want to fix them up on a date with some girl that they don't even, it's nothing that's going to be compatible. Your job is to, and if a client is unrealistic, it's our job to tell them, like, listen, you're a little unrealistic. It's never going to happen. So let's, like, either we're going to fix this issue, or we can't work together.
So we were going to talk today about how a lot of people who are single and possibly some of them living alone, not living with family, especially during COVID times, have got very lonely at home, and suddenly pets have become the big thing. And I know, before I used to see these ads on TV where it said, please adopt a pet, and we don't see this anymore. It looks like all the pets have gone. So why do you feel that? And yes. So why do you feel it's so important? Why are people embracing animals?
Well, think about it. You're home alone, right? And this is going on a long time. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I really thought it was going to be a 2-week virus, and then we were back to normal. Like, never. And when I would hear the scientists say something about 2021, I mean, I was like, there's no way. I mean, this is going to be a couple of weeks, a month, maybe 2 months, and then we're all back to normal. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, but I know back in Canada, they were back in lockdown. So people are extremely lonely. And, the thing is, a lot of times you're not allowed to see your grandchildren. You're not allowed to see your children, but you're allowed to have a dog. Everybody's adopting dogs. And, it's funny because when I first started my business, I always asked, if you have an allergy to animals, do you like animals? And people were so much more difficult. Like, I don't want a girl with a small dog. I don't want a guy with a big dog. I'm allergic to this dog. Now, nobody cares. I mean, I see guys now 6 feet, 230 pounds, walking around with a little rat in their hand, and they kissing it and they're loving it. I'm like, oh my God. When I first started, you couldn't get a guy to walk around. You wouldn't get a guy, then like now you see all them walking around with little dogs, kissing them. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough thing to follow, because that men, their dogs are their best friends, and women, their dogs are their babies.
Yes.
So there's gonna be, like, afterwards, when everybody kind of goes back to, whatever is normal going to be, back to the work, back to the office, whatever, what are they going to do with these animals?
So true.
So yeah, when you talk about women and the dogs are babies, I guess that's why Lady Gaga has put out this $500,000 reward today.
I mean, think about it. When you come, does your husband run to the door when you come home?
Heck no. I run away from him on the other side. The other side.
Exactly. But when when the dog, everybody says, oh, my dog loves me no matter what. And you know what? Now you drive in the car and you see guys kissing their dogs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to be so tough, because everybody's going to want the unconditional love of an animal with their partner, and it's not going to happen. Not like that.
Animals are just as needy for love and affection as human beings are. Finally, there is a true connection. I think some people used to have, like the royal family, they just had to show off what corgis and whatever, I think, over the years. I don't know how much they loved them, but it was more a show off, like walking, the queen walking, right? And I think people tend to follow that. But now I think that the truth has come out that everybody's needy. Human beings are needy, animals are needy. So I think there's been a true connection, especially in COVID.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I grew up with a mother that was madly in love with animals. She gave a lot of money to animals. She was vegan. So, in our house, we always had a dog, and the dog was really treated like royalty. Really, everybody knew my dog Pinky, But nowadays, everybody's like that. I mean, back in my day, nobody was like that. My friends didn't have dogs. You know what I mean? We had the dog, but our dog was royalty. We had dog walkers. My mother was traveling, But I have a funny story for your, if people want to have a good laugh. Okay, so a girl comes to see me about 1.5 years ago, and she tells me that she met a guy online and that they went out, and on the first date, he brought her back to the house, which I wouldn't have liked that one. And when they walked in, the dog was growling at her. And then when he went into his office, he had downloaded her picture, like off the computer. It was torn up in 1,000 pieces. He says to her, my dog has a good judge of character. You're going to have to leave. And he threw her out.
Well, they do say that
dog was a
animals have good
matchmaker.
instincts. Yeah.
Like
They do
children.
say animals have good instincts, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Like children.
Yeah. One of my dogs was prejudiced. Honestly, I don't know how. And we had a liquor store. And he would be sleeping behind the counter. And if any person of color came, oh my God, she would just jump up and scream her head off. I'm like, hey, look at my color. But she was just very prejudiced.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
we never brought her down. She stayed up in the house in Saratoga. So, yeah.
do you recommend to your client, Susan, to get pets during this time? Is that something that you definitely recommend to them?
You know what? No, I mean, I don't recommend it because my clients are not really lonely in that sense. I mean, yes, if I ask them, my friends are getting dogs, that's for sure. But my clients, they'll tell me they're getting a dog, but and I say, oh, that's so good. I like that. It's great. But because if you push the dog, a lot of times, people are happy to be home with their dog. I mean, even before the pandemic, guys were telling me, if I met a guy on the street, oh, I don't need a matchmaker. I don't need a woman. I'm very happy with my dog. I mean, yeah, okay, your dog. I mean, how much of your dog do you want? You know what I mean? I mean, seriously. And then you have to convince them that, come on, you need more than a dog. You know what I mean? But, they get used to it. People get used to that life.
On the other hand, do you think when people meet and they have a pet, does that take something away from a relationship as well?
No, because like right now it's a great thing, because of the lockdowns. There's not much to do. So it's actually a good thing. I always tell people, why don't you take your dog and her dog and go for a walk? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the greatest thing, and if the dogs like each other, it's going to be a match. They won't care if they match, but if their dogs play well, it's like children, And then it's like they're children. Children are get along, well, then we could get along.
And it also gives you a reason to talk about something, have something in common when you have a pet. You can talk about it.
And like I said, right now, everybody is in a position where there's no much. I mean, I'm in Florida. Things are open. I mean, there's a little bit of events, but I wouldn't go to anything right now, so people stay home. What do? You clean and you cook and you clean and you cook and you clean and you cook and you work a little bit and you clean and you cook. That's everybody's life. I mean, I call clients in Sweden and that's what they're doing. We're cooking, we're cleaning, we're cooking, we're cleaning. Call Japan, they're doing the same thing. And all over the world, everybody's cooking and cleaning and cooking and cleaning. So that's what our life is today. And if you have a dog, so walk the dog. And you can take the dog out and you have something in common. You could talk about your dog and you could take the dogs out, That's it.
I think when COVID started in social media, people were just flooding social media with all their recipes and their instant pot.
Oh yeah, yeah. The food and the food. Oh my God. Oh my God. The food. Everybody with the food, looking what they're eating. They're eating, and
Yeah.
We've all gained weight, except for Ren, she lost a lot.
That's thanks to the vaccine. So, Susan, talking about matchmaking, you talk about specializing with men. Have you noticed that? I mean, one of the things we're running into is that we find that a lot of the men think that women have a lot of drama. They always say we want a woman that is drama free. Do you run into that as well with the clients that you're servicing as well?
In general, if a man's hiring a matchmaker, he's out of the drama scene, right? He wants to get serious. He's been through it. And you speak to your client, right? And they'll tell you, my ex-girlfriend, she was so insecure, or she didn't want to do this, so you kind of know your client. So when I get the woman for him, the first thing I say is, he's not into games. He's not into drama. You know what I mean? He's not into that. He's done it, been there, done that, went through it, and does not want it. And that's what makes our job a little bit easier, because they're at the end. You know what I mean? They're tired of either the online or being fixed up by friends, and so they're ready for this. So they're in your hands. They trust you, and you have to find somebody, and that's why you have to interview. I don't understand matchmakers who don't interview their clients. They just fix up. I mean, that makes no sense. You really have to
get to know them,
interview your client, get to know them. I'm a very good judge of character. Like I pick up people's energy very quickly. So if I don't click with them, I can't work for them. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's the same with you guys. Like when you don't, if you don't click with them, how are they going to click with them? You're the middle person. So you have to click with both parties, and hopefully it works. So some people are just. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What advice would you give to, for example, a man that's got a little bit of, we've run into the situation that some men who are in their 40s, like mid 40s, never been married or married before. And now they want to get married again. And they have this hang up that the woman has to be 30 for her to have kids. And they just don't understand the concept that, you can be 40 and have children, or the fact that women are freezing their eggs these days, and that, you don't, it's okay. But they're hung up with, oh, no. You know what? She's just going to be too old. I have to have somebody very young because I want to have kids. And 13, 16 years, sometimes women are not going to buy into that.
Right. But, you have to realize something too. When someone comes to you, right, the first thing they say to me is, what age do you think I should go out with? And I always tell them, listen to me very carefully. Okay. If you want children, like if you get a guy who's 50, he's never been married, or he's divorced, never had children, now he wants to have a family. One of the things I always say to him, are you sure you want a family? Because at 50, you're pretty set in your ways. Mm-hmm. That's number one thing, right? By 50, you've already been, you're going out, you're doing your traveling, and all of a sudden you have to stop and reverse yourself and have a baby and start, So that's the first thing we talk about. Is it really what you want? And if it's really what they want, I'll say, okay, but you're right. Nowadays, because back in our days, like you guys, your parents probably got married. My mom was married at 18 years old. God forbid if I was married at 18 years old. It's a baby today, right?
Yes.
That's a baby.
That was a norm then.
That was normal then. And don't forget, women didn't have these big careers like they have today. The world's changed, right? Dating is not what it was even 20, 30 years ago. Women have careers. Women are going to school later. Men are also there, but they marry their business. And all of a sudden they wake up at 55 years old and go, or 60 years old and go, oh my God, I married my business and I don't have anything else. And especially now during the pandemic, people are realizing how lonely their life is, right? Don't forget, people are not always going to an office anymore. Now they're working from home. They never, they have nobody in their home, just maybe a dog, So now everything is hitting people. So yes, I always tell them, listen, if you're going to have children, understand that women today, I had a client who had a natural birth at 50. She had she had a kid at 50. So I always tell them, don't go by age. We have to go by compatibility. And remember, you could go with a girl that's 32 years old. No guarantee she could conceive and have a child.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you have to be very careful with that. And, that's what I always tell them. Like, don't just pick somebody by their age, because that doesn't work. I mean, listen, remember, if you were with an insecure woman, right? And you were unhappy, and now you're going back, now you want to go back to a younger girl. Young girls still have that insecurity. I mean, listen, you start changing when you get in your 40s, start becoming a little more confident, and then 50, you become more confident, and 60, you don't care anymore. You're so confident, right? So that's the thing, is that I tell them, I go, listen, if you're going to go step back and go with a very young girl, remember, let's say you're 50, you've been 35, you've been through those insecurities. She hasn't. So do you want to go back to that? You have to really have to coach them and ask them if this is really what you want to do. If you're 65 and your first family, that you're having grandchildren, I mean, do you really want to have a baby? I mean, unless that's really important to the woman and you fall in love, but don't fall in love with an age.
Right.
Because your compatibility could be with a 42-year-old, and she could have a baby. And you could adopt a baby. The baby shouldn't be the most important thing. When people say, well, if a girl says, well, I'm 39 and I want to have a baby, then go to a sperm bank. It's open today. It's different. Women can have babies on their own. I've sent a few girls to the sperm banks, and they were very happy. Because you could tell that they weren't really into having a relationship. They wanted a baby. So why you're gonna, it's always 50-50 that you're gonna get divorced. So why go through it? You know what I mean? If that's not really what you want.
That's the worst thing to raise a child with two people that don't get along. So
or don't even like each other from the first date. You know what I mean? They both want kids. And you listen, right now in the pandemic, we're finding out a lot of history there of people who did a lot of wrong things.
Yes, I know. I heard what some of the stats that have gone up. I mean, in addition to, of course, cooking and eating, domestic violence, unfortunately, has really increased. And the divorce rate has increased because now people are stuck with each other. Work was an escape to get away from the home, and now you're stuck with each other 24/7. And a lot of people are realizing that they don't need to be with that person anymore, or they can get someone else. So we have a few more minutes. So Susan, tell us if our listeners are sitting here thinking, well, what if I get a pet? And then what if I meet somebody that doesn't like animals? What do I do?
Well, you know what? I fixed up a doctor with a girl who had a little dog, and he didn't want the dog, and she got rid of it. To me, that I don't know if I would get rid of my dog for some guy. I don't personally. I don't think so. But that's a part of our job, right? Is to ask somebody, are you open to meeting somebody with an animal?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't forget, so if you say to somebody, are you open to meet somebody with children? Don't forget, children could last up to 100 years old. Dogs only go up to maybe 14, 18 years. It's not, as long, but you have to listen. I think people are going to be much more open now and less complicated about the animal thing than they were before the pandemic.
You could have a kid that refuses to move out of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll stay with you and just I'm not going anywhere. Pay my bills.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty, and today a lot of the, I'm meeting, a lot of these young kids that I work with, they're moving back into the same city as their parents. They never thought they'd do it. They never thought they'd go back to the same city. But this pandemic really changed us a lot. Our values are very different. I'm sure with you guys too, what was important before is not so important anymore.
No.
I mean, I know myself, when we got first locked up, I was counting all the shoes I bought. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to be wearing all these shoes. Where am I going?
I know.
And then I thought, all the shoes I bought.
Right. I think sitting at home, you've actually realized how much you actually need. and one can be a minimalist and still be very happy. And people have realized that, there's just more value to be spent at home and a time, especially if you have kids or family, or just even now people are connecting more with people than ever did before through Zoom. So that's been the great thing, I think, is that they're making an effort. I see all these families getting together and having weekly calls. I know Kamal has regular calls with a family all over in England. So that's really good. Well, as you know, it's always a pleasure to have you on our show. You know that we have lots of fun. I don't even know how the time goes.
I know. I love it too. Honestly, I really enjoy being on your show. It's good energy, and it just flows. And I think our listeners get a good feeling of what we do, and they understand that matchmakers, Indian matchmaker, the show, and Jewish matchmakers, we're very similar in our way of working. So we connect with the client as a matchmaker, not as a dating service.
Absolutely, and that's what we tell them. And actually, I think matchmakers are coming back into the scene because nothing against the apps out there, but I don't think the swiping left or right. There's Sheena nodding her head away. It's really a way of
remember that it's going to go back. That's why matchmaking is so busy right now, because and remember, there's no really places to meet. Right? There's not like you go to a club or a party, an event, travel. You're going to New York for the weekend. You're going to meet some. There's nothing happening, so what do you have? You have your social media, and people are, and people now understand what we do. I think they had time to look us up and understand it. Because I know I'm getting a bunch of people that, years ago said I would never need a matchmaker, because they understand you're a winner when you use a matchmaker.
And I think, if anything, you're not going to get ghosted, at least when you have a matchmaker.
No, she doesn't. We do all the work for them. We do all the work. We get stressed out. All they got to do is either, Zoom or show up. They have it easy. We do. We're the ones who do all the work, and all they have to do is get a phone number, call, and start. So simple.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
thank you so much. It's been great having you, and we look forward to bringing you back for another topic back on Prem Connection.
Thank you. I really enjoy being on your show. I really do. Thank you so much, ladies. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
You too. You too.
Thank you.
Yes, and for our listeners, we'll be back again next week on another topic. And by the way, if you're looking to share your story with us, how you met your loved one or how you did not meet your loved one, we're happy to talk about everything: love, breakups, relationships, anything you want to share. We'd love to have you on our show. So just give us a call, or you can email 2auntiesdoubleadvice@gmail.com. Until next week, stay safe and keep smiling. And watch out for that second dose of that vaccine. Right, Kamal?
Yes. No chills.
That's all. Thank you, Sheena, for managing this a little technical stuff here, because Kamal and I would never be able to do this.
Of course, anytime.
We're from the old school, just like the straight. You remember the rotary phones, right?
Yes, the phones. All right. Good night, everybody.
Everybody enjoy your evening.